Hello children, good morning. Welcome to SST class. Children, in today's class we study History Unit 4. The name of the lesson is South Indian Kingdoms. Let us see the learning objectives. Children, in this lesson we study about the southern Indian states that emerged after the fall of the Mauryan Empire. Then we get information of the ruling dynasties such as Pallavas, Chalukyas and Rashtrakutas and their domains. And we understand their contribution to society and culture with reference to literature, art and architecture. And to become familiar with the artistic and architectural splendor of Mamallapuram Shore Temple, Ellora monuments and Elephanta Cave temples. This is what we study in this lesson. Come, let us start the lesson. South Indian Kingdoms. Let us see first of all, before we study about this kingdom, we need some sources. Let us see what are the sources available. Inscriptions. Mandagapattu Cave, eye-hole inscription of Pulikeshin II. Copper plates, Kasapudi plates. Literature. Mattavilasa Prahasana, Avanti Sundara Kada, Kalingattu Parani, Periya Puranam, Nandi Kalambagam. These are the literatures available. Foreign notice, accounts of Chinese traveller Yung Sang. So these are all the sources available to study about these kingdoms. South Indian kingdoms. By the early 7th century, with the Harshas reign in north. We studied in last lesson, in the northern side Harsha was ruling our country. At the same time, in the south had come under the control of the Pallava kings of Kanjipuram. Pallavas ruling included the domains of the Cholas and Pandyas also. Some portion of the Cholas and Pandyas also were included in Pallavas ruling. The latter were emerging as ruling dynasties in their respective river valley regions. Much of the central and eastern Deccan was under the Chalukyas of Badami. The central and eastern Deccan areas, it was under the Chalukyas. They were ruling from Badami, who were then pushed away by the Rashtrakutas. The Chalukyas later pushed away by the Rashtrakutas. Okay. First, we start with the Pallavas. The Pallava kings ruled around the prosperous agrarian settlement and important trade center of Kanjipuram on the southeast coast of India, where they were ruling Kanjipuram. It was the main ruling part for these Pallavas. Kanjipuram was well known to Chinese and Roman merchants. Why? It was a very famous trading center, Kanjipuram. So it was well known for the Chinese and Roman merchants. From the flourishing trade center of Kanjipuram, the later Pallavas extended their ruling area over all the Tamil-speaking regions during the 7th and 8th centuries. The central part of their kingdom was Tondai Mandalam, a large political region comprising northern parts of Tamil Nadu and the next Andhra districts also. Okay. Pallava, prominent kings. Who are all the important kings of Pallavas? Let us study now. There were early Pallava rulers who were feudatories of Satavahanas. In the previous lesson we studied about the Satavahanas. The early Pallava rulers were the feudatories. Feudatories means a small kings under the control of these Satavahanas. Simhavishnu, he was the son of Simhavarman II. He only made a strong Pallava kingdom after destroying the Kalabras. So, who made a strong Pallava kingdom? Simhavishnu. Okay. And he also defeated many kings in the south, including the Cholas and the Pandyas. His son was Magendravarman I. Who was his son? Magendravarman I. After this Magendravarman I, his son Narasimhavarman I came to the rule. The other prominent Pallava rulers where Narasimhavarman II, otherwise he was called Rajasimha, and next Nandivarman II came for the power. The last Pallava ruler was Aparajita. Who was the last Pallava ruler? Aparajita. Okay. Mahendravarman contributed to the greatness of the Pallava kingdom. He was a follower of Jainism in the early period of his ruling. Later he was converted to Saivism by the Saivat saint Appar. He was also called Tirunavukkarasar. He was a great patron of art and architecture, who Mahendravarman I. Mahendravarman is known for introducing a new style to Dravidian architecture, which is referred to as Mahendra style. Mahendravarman also wrote plays including Mattavilasa Prahasana, the delight of the drunkards, in Sanskrit. Next we can see the contribution of Pallavas to architecture. Pallavas architecture can be classified as three types. One is rock cut temples, that is also called Mahendravarman style. They will cut the big rock, in that they will carve the temples. Second one is monolithic rathas and sculptural mandapas, that is called Mamallan style. Monolithic means with a single rock they will make the rathas. Okay. The Panchapandava Ratha, which is in Mamallapuram, is the example for this. The third one is structural temple, that is Rajasimhan style and Nandivarman style. These are all the three kinds of architecture contributed by Pallavas. First we can study about the Mahendra style of architecture. The best example of Mahendravarma style monuments are cave temples at Mandagapattu, which is in Mamallapuram, and Mahendravadi, Mamandur, Dalavanur, Tiruchirappalli, Vallam, Tirukkalkundram and Siyamangalam. In all these places we can see is monuments, style of monuments. Next we can see the Mamalla style. The five Rathas, popularly called Panchapandava Rathas, which is in Mamallapuram. It signifies five different styles of temple architecture. Each Ratha has been carved out of a single rock. So they are called monolithic. Monolithic means made with a single rock. The popular mandapams, pillared pavilions they built are Mahishasuramarddini Mandapam, Tirumurti Mandapam and Varaha Mandapam. Most important among the Mamalla style of architecture is the open art gallery. Several miniature sculptures such as the figure of fly-speaking monkey, elephants of huge size and the figure of the ascetic cat have been sculpted beautifully on the wall of a huge rock. Miniature means a small size of sculptures. Okay. The fall of the river Ganga from the head of Lord Shiva and the Arjuna's penance are notable among them. When you get a chance to go Mamallapuram, you can see all of them. The great penance panel is considered to be the world's largest open-air bas-relief. Is it clear, children? The third type of architecture is Rajasimha style. Narasimhavarma II, he was also called Rajasimha. He constructed structural temples using stone blocks. The best example for this structural temple is Kailasanatha temple at Kanchipuram. You can see them now in the picture. This temple was built by using sandstones. Kailasanatha temple is called Rajasimheswaram. What is called? Rajasimheswaram. Next, Nandivarman style. The last stage of the Pallava architecture is also represented by structural temples which built by the later Pallavas. The best example is Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram. Next we can study about the Chalukyas. The Chalukyas ruled larger parts of west and center of South India, consisting of Maratha country with Vatapi. Vatapi is nowadays Badami as their capital. There were three distinct but closely related independent Chalukya dynasties. They were One, Chalukyas of Badami. The second one, Chalukyas of Vengi, that is Eastern Chalukyas. And the third one is Chalukyas of Kalyani, that is Western Chalukyas. These Chalukyas held Harsha in the north, the Pallavas in the south, and the Kalingas, that is in Odisha, in the east as their borders. Sources. There are so many inscriptions available to study about these Chalukyas. They are Badami cave inscription of Mangalesha, Kanchi Kailasanatha temple inscription, Pattadakkal Virupaksha temple inscription, Aihole inscription of Pulikezhin I. Foreign notice. Accounts of Chinese traveller Yun San. Aihole inscription. It is found at Meguti temple in Aihole, that is Bagalkot district, which is in Karnataka. It is written in Sanskrit by Ravi Kirti, a court poet of Chalukya king Pulikezhin II. It makes a mention of the defeat of Harshavardhana by Pulikezhin II. Pulikezhin I, a chieftain of Pattadakkal in the Bijapur district, took and fortified the hill fort of Vadapi around 543 AD. He soon conquered the territory between the Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers and the western Ghats. His son Kirtivarman I, he brought the Konkan coast under Chalukya control. Pulikezhin II emerged as the most powerful ruler of the dynasty. The Persian king Khusru II sent an embassy to the court of Pulikezhin II. Pulikezhin succeeded in seizing parts of Gujarat and Malwa. He defied the North Indian ruler Harsha, and according to an agreed understanding, Narmada river was fixed as the boundary between the two. About 624, Pulikezhin II conquered the kingdom of Vengi and gave it to his brother Vishnuvardhana, the first Eastern Chalukya ruler. During 641 till 647, the Pallavas ravaged the Deccan and captured Vadapi, but the Chalukyas had recaptured it by 655. Vikramaditya I and Vikramaditya II, the successor of Vikramaditya I, captured Kanchipuram but spared the city. Kirtivarman II, the successor of Vikramaditya II, was defeated by Dandi Durga, the founder of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. This is the end of this Chalukyas dynasty. Next we can study about the contributions of Chalukyas to art and architecture. As supporters of both Saivism and Vaishnavism, the Chalukyas contributed richly to art and architecture. A new style of architecture known as Vesara was developed. Vesara is a combination of South Indian style and North Indian building styles. They perfected the art of stone building without mortar. They used soft sandstones in construction. They built a number of rock cave temples and structural temples dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. The structural temples of Chalukyas exist at Aihole, Badami and Pattadakkal. The important stone temples are the Vishnu temples at Badami and Aihole and the Virupaksha or Shiva temple at Pattadakkal in Bijapur district in present-day Karnataka. The Vishnu temple at Badami was built by Mangalesa of the Chalukya dynasty and contains the Aihole inscription of Vikramaditya II. Their cave temples are found at Ajanta, Ellora and Nasik. The Kasi Vishweshwara temple at Lakundi, the Mallikarjuna temple at Kuruvatti, the Kaleshwara temple at Bagali and the Mahadeva temple at Itagi represent well-known examples of the architecture of Western Chalukyas of Kalyani. Next we can study about the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas ruled not only the Deccan but parts of the far south and the Ganges plain as well from 8th to 10th century AD. They were of Kannada origin and their mother tongue was Kannada. Dandi Durga was the founder of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He was an official of high rank under the Chalukyas of Badami. Krishna I succeeded Dandi Durga. He consolidated and extended the Rashtrakuta power. He was a great patron of art and architecture. The Kailasanatha temple at Ellora was built by him. By whom? By the Krishna I. The greatest king of the Rashtrakuta dynasty was Amogavarsha. He built a new capital at Manyaketa, and Broch became the port. Amogavarsha was converted to Jainism by Jinasena, a Jain monk. Krishna too, who succeeded his father Amogavarsha. He suffered a defeat in the Battle of Vallala, that is modern Thiruvallam, Vellore district, at the hands of Cholas under Parandaka in c. 916. Krishna III was the last able ruler of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He defeated the Cholas in the Battle of Takkolam, presently it is in Vellore district. Chalukyas under Krishna III contested with other ruling dynasties of North India for the control of Kannauj. He built Krishneshwara temple at Rameshwaram. Govinda III was the last ruler to hold the empire intact. After his death, the Rashtrakuta power declined. Contribution of Rashtrakutas to literature, art and architecture. Kailasanatha temple was one of the 30 temples carved out of the hill at Ellora. It was built during the reign of Krishna I. The temple is known for its architectural grandeur and sculptural splendor. The temple covers an area of over 60,000 square feet, and Vimanam, that is temple tower, rises to a height of 90 feet. This temple has resemblance to the shore temple at Mamallapuram. The Kailasanatha temple portrays typical Dravidian features. Elephanta cave, originally known as Sirupuri and called Garapuri by the local people. Elephanta is an island near Mumbai. The Portuguese named it as Elephanta after seeing the huge image of an elephant. The Trimurti Shiva icon is an illustrative of the sculptural beauty portrayed in the cave temple of Elephanta. There are impressive images of Dwarapalakas, that is entrance gods, at the entrance of the temple. Pattadakkal. Rashtrakutas built temples in the complex of Pattadakkal. The Jain Narayana temple and the Kasi Vishweshwara temple were built by Rashtrakutas. These are all the contributions of the Rashtrakutas to art and architecture. That's all in this lesson, children. Thank you, children. Bye, children.